Hi everyone, we have come to the end of January and I may have made a few purchases this month, despite the fact that I said I was really going to focus on samples in 2021. But these ones that I purchased were rare. I am also using a one in, one out policy in 2021 to try and keep a lid on how many things I accumulate because I have far too many perfumes. So what I have decided to do is that if I'm going to buy a perfume, I have to get rid of something. So just to keep my collection under control, because my perfume wardrobe is very large. It's not as large as a lot of other people's wardrobes, but it's still large enough to warrant me making sure that I keep a lid on it. Right, so I'll go through what I purchased first. I'm not going to talk in great detail about what I've purchased other than to just show you and give you a little bit of a backstory if there is one. And I do want to do full reviews of these anyway, so rest assured you will get the full deep dive into these fragrances, but for the moment I'm just showing you what I bought. For me at the moment, what's more interesting is what I'm getting rid of, because that's the hardest part of this whole process. Buying stuff is easy. Saying goodbye to things is the hard part. Okay, so very quickly, the first three that I'm going to talk about I bought through one of the Facebook groups, through two different people, trusted perfumistas. I don't doubt at all the authenticity of these fragrances, so I have no qualms buying from them, even though you'll see one of them looks a bit messed up, but there was full disclosure on that. So this is from the Arts and Materials line, and it is Rose Barbare. This was not one of my instant favorites from this line, but as I do when I go into our local department store, I like to go and frequent the Guerlain counter. And you know, I'm on very good terms with the sales assistant at the Guerlain counter now. So she often pulls out the Arts and Materials line for me, and the Elixir line as well. And we revisit ones that I have smelled but I haven't bought or whatever. So, I mean, obviously she's trying to sell me perfume. I'm not immune to that fact, but I'm also curious to smell things over and over again. And I have to admit, when I first smelled Rose Barbare, I was not that taken with it. And partly because a lot of the time I was smelling it on the blotter, I think. So this particular day, I did spray it on my skin and I came home and Matt was blown away. He's just going, "What are you wearing? That smells fantastic. Did you buy it?" And my answer was no, I did not buy it. But I have to admit, the more that I wore it, the more I really enjoyed it. So she had given me a sample of it and I really, really did start to enjoy it. But then sort of COVID hit and it was hard to come by here, and we're still, in fact, I did place an order with her, and she, you know, it's just taking months and months and months to get here. Meanwhile, this one came up in one of the Facebook groups, and I was attracted to the fact that it's clearly an older version. I haven't actually dated the batch code on this, so I don't know what year it is exactly, but clearly just from the packaging you can tell that it's an older version. So, and for the price, I actually paid less for this than I would have a brand new one. So sorry to my sales assistant, but she always says it doesn't matter if you change your mind if I order it and you don't end up buying it. She said I just put it on the shelf and it ends up selling. So I don't feel too bad about that. But in any case, that was Rose Barbare by Guerlain. The next one, it was from the same person, and I actually have already purchased a bottle of this, but it is currently stuck in the UK. So the story is, well, actually I'll tell you what it is first. This is Shangri-La by Hiram Green. So Hiram Green is a Canadian perfumer, or at least he's Canadian born, and he's a natural perfumer. So I first discovered this fragrance, I think 2 years ago, we were living in, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 2 years ago in 2019. And at the time I had a couple of samples of it and I really enjoyed them. And I kept saying to myself, oh yeah, I'm going to buy a bottle, I'm going to buy a bottle. And I just waited too long, basically. And what happened was this particular fragrance was discontinued because it has oak moss in it, and you know, obviously selling into Europe and stuff, he couldn't do it. So he decided to finish this line up. As far as I'm aware, that was the reason why he discontinued this line, was because of the oak moss. And he couldn't recreate, I guess, the fragrance using substitutes to give the same effect. So he discontinued it, and then the bottles in Australia sold out, and then I couldn't get any more. So what I ended up doing was the perfumery that sold Hiram Green fragrances in Australia had quite a few of the samples left, but they had no bottles. And so I bought up all of the samples except for a couple. I think there was 12 left. I bought 10, but I already had 2. So in total, I bought 12 samples of this. And thinking that, okay, well, at least that's likely to be, you know, 20 mil or something like that. And then Hiram Green actually posted on his Instagram that there were only a few bottles remaining in the world, and he posted where they were, what perfumeries were selling them. And there were a few, but the one that was the most reasonably priced, I think, was based in the UK, but unfortunately they didn't ship internationally. So what I did was I purchased it and then had it sent to a friend's place, thinking that you know, I would get over there within the year, or I had friends that I knew were going to be going to the UK, so they said they'd be happy to go collect it for me and bring it back in their suitcase. And what ended up happening was, of course, COVID hit and no one was going anywhere. So it's still stuck in the UK at my friend's place, my friend's father's place, I should say. So I have no doubt that when COVID lifts, she will be going, my friend actually lives in Australia, so she'll be going to the UK to visit her father at some point, or he'll be coming here at some point, and I will actually get my hands on that bottle. But when this came up, I was really missing it. I've really been wanting it lately, and I've been wearing all of my samples, all of the little backlog of samples that I had. I've just been going through them because, I don't know, I've just been really enjoying this at the moment. It is a Chypre, and it's just very, very opulent, a bit mossy, and I just love it. And I used to wear this to yoga a lot. And so for me, because I'm starting to get back into my fitness routine and I'm wanting to do more yoga and I'm wanting to do more meditation for my mental health, so this is one that I really, really love, and I was missing it. And so when this came up for sale, I didn't even hesitate. I just launched onto it and said, yeah, I'll take it. Knowing, of course, that I do have a full bottle in the UK, which I probably don't need, but I can deal with that later once I know what's happening to it. or I can judge how quickly I go through this, and then we'll see. But I am wearing this, I've already worn it quite a few times already, and I did sort of finish off my samples thinking, okay, now I can safely get rid of them. I was kind of hoarding them for a while. Anyway, so that was Hiram Green's Shangri-La, which I'm just so happy to have. The last bottle that I bought through the Facebook group is actually a very banged up bottle of Diaghilev by Roger. The bottle is in terrible shape and the lid is not the right lid. I think it's supposed to be a black lid, but obviously it's been mixed up at some point. But in any case, I trusted the seller, and there was full disclosure of the state of this bottle. So I'm just going to show you because it is pretty funny. I mean, it's sad. It's obviously been dropped at some point. But yeah, it's, I don't know if you can see that, but it's lost a corner here, and there's a chip there, and yeah, it's seen better days for sure, the bottle. It's very sad, but in a way it worked out really well for me because there is no way that I could afford to buy this bottle of perfume at retail, and so I picked this up for a very, very, very good price. And even with the chipped bottle, for the amount that's in here, which is about 30 mils, this is a 100 ml bottle, I am absolutely I'm very, very happy because this is a fantastic fragrance. Is it worth $1,200? Look, to be honest, I don't think unless I win the lottery, I don't think I can justify spending $1,200 on any fragrance. But this does smell amazing. I will treasure this and I will covet it, and I am not ever selling this fragrance because it does smell amazing. It's another sheep fragrance, and it is meant to, well, they say it's been compared a lot to the original Mitsuko. What I will say about this is that it is similar to that. I haven't ever smelled the original or vintage version of Mitsuko, but I have got the current EDT. And the problem that I have with Mitsuko is that the ashiness, it has this cigarette ash sort of note in it that smells stale. It smells like stale cigarette ash on my skin in the dry down, and so consequently, even though I kind of love the opening, I do not like the dry down of that. This has a smokiness to it or an ashiness to it, but it doesn't have that stale angle to it, which this is just divine. It's very opulent. It's just so good. It's so good. So I feel very lucky to have this one. So the last one that I bought is Chanel No. 5 EDP. I know how much I have dissed this fragrance in the past. I have made it very clear that I do not like the eau de parfum of the Chanel No. 5 line. Well, times have changed. I think it is an exposure thing, and I think it's the fact that I do have the Eau Premiere. That was my gateway into the Chanel No. 5 line, and I've been wearing it a lot. And I wore the Parfum a lot, and then I was wearing the EDT a lot. And I think it's just constant. I mean, every week there will be several days over a course of a week that I will wear one of those fragrances at some point in the day. Usually it'll be if I'm going to a meeting in the morning and I don't want to be too overpowering, I might wear the Eau Premiere or something. Or if I'm taking the dog for a walk in the afternoon and I want to feel clean, I might spray on the EDT or something like that. So there are several days in the course of a week since I started wearing Eau Premiere back in February 2020 that I will wear some kind of Chanel No. 5. So I think the constant exposure to other Chanel No. 5 fragrances in the line has just simply allowed me to develop an appreciation for how Chanel No. 5 smells. And what I never liked about the Chanel No. 5 Eau de Parfum before was that I always thought that the florals are definitely more opulent and they're definitely a lot heavier than they are in the other versions, even in the Parfum. The Parfum is just so clean and sparkly. And the Eau de Parfum has always been a lot darker, a lot more floral, and it always sort of, to me, had this kind of fustiness about it. Anyway, look, it's either one of two things. Either it's the constant exposure and the development of an appreciation for how No. 5 actually smells, or it is a reformulation. There is part of me that's wondering, and I don't want to start rumors here because I don't know. This is just me trying to understand how I could go from hating something or disliking something as much as I disliked this fragrance to suddenly really, really loving it. And so it's either a change in my nose, which is probably the most likely scenario because I have been wearing lots of Chanel No. 5, or it is perhaps they've cleaned up the formulation a little bit to make it more crowd pleasing. But in any case, I really love this now. So I am 100% in the Chanel No. 5 boat. I don't think there's any Chanel No. 5 that I dislike. I don't own the low that's simply because it's not that I dislike it, it's just that I'm a bit ambivalent about it. I feel like I don't get enough from it because it's very light wearing, that one, and a bit more citrusy, I think. So there you have it, Chanel No. 5 Eau de Parfum. Okay, so there was one more purchase in January 2021, which I forgot about because it only arrived today. So I thought I would quickly film a little add-on segment to the video because I haven't finished editing it yet anyway. And that way I will be able to include a complete list of my January 2021 purchases. What arrived today was a vintage bottle of 24 Faubourg, which is otherwise known as 24 Faubourg if you don't speak French, which I clearly do not, but I am trying very, very hard to learn how to say these things. And I know that I'm still butchering them, even with all of my practice, but that's okay. It's better for you all to see my failures and pick on those than to think that I'm lazy because you think I'm not even trying at all. So this is spectacular. It is a 50 ml EDT from 1996, I believe, if I have dated the batch code correctly. And it's pre the first reformulation. So I think the first reformulation occurred around 1999 by Jean-Claude Ellena, and this predates that. So it's the original formulation, and it is spectacular. It's really, really good. I have already a 30 ml EDP modern formulation, and I love this one too. I have been wearing this. I really enjoy it a lot. It's a very comforting scent to me, but in comparison to this, it just is just not the same. So I can understand why people fall down this rabbit hole of wanting to find original formulations, particularly if they have worn the original formulations and things have been reformulated. I can understand why they would want to hunt down old versions to relive, I guess, those memories that they must have from wearing these beautiful fragrances. So I will be doing a full review on this. You can bet your bottom dollar I will be doing a full review of this. And I'm looking forward to wearing it and just experiencing the true version of 24 Faubourg. Now, I did say I was going to go through the ones that I'm getting rid of, but I am running a little bit low on time, so I'm going to have to go away and do some errands and come back. So I might actually leave this here now, and then I'll split them into two and I'll do the declutter, the ones that are getting the boot as a result of these purchases in a subsequent video. So thanks for joining me. Let me know what you think. Have you tried any of these? Let me know what you think about your thoughts on my change in stance on the Chanel No. 5 EDP. Has that happened to you? Because I mean, I really, really disliked this, and now I really, really love it. So I'm definitely eating my words in that regard. All right, thanks for joining me. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.
We were young and we were free and running, never bothered about what could be coming. Every day we danced and life was smiling. We were young